So we have Alice Williams here today. Alice, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for asking. Thank you for allowing this. I'm so excited.
One of our mutual friends, Melanie Evans, actually connected us, and I'm so glad. We've only had one other SLPA on the podcast over the 10-year span that Species Side Up has been around, and that was a
It's
very
time.
long time ago. So it is more than time. And, in researching for this topic, I was shocked by how little research articles are available in regards to SLPA. I think I only found like one that really talked about the value and benefits of having SLPAs in the field. So I'm so excited for you to share more information with us and how you're making an impact in the field today.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Awesome. So this course is called Ethics, Allies, and Advocacy, Redefining the Speech Language Pathology or SLPA role. And by the end of this pod course, we hope that you'll be able to identify two common ethical challenges faced by SLPAs and describe strategies for navigating them effectively. Describe two ways that SLPs can support SLPAs. Describe at least two benefits that SLPAs can bring to the field of speech language pathology. And finally, explain three ways the SLPA Network or TSN supports SLPAs and supervisors in building ethical, collaborative work environments. Here's our agenda for today. We're starting with some welcome and introductions. Then we'll get into ethical challenges and strategies, how SLPs can support SLPAs, benefits SLPAs bring to the field, how TSN supports ethical, collaborative work, and finally, we'll wrap up with our closing remarks, references, and resources. Alice, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Most definitely. Let's start with I am a mom from Detroit, Michigan, and I found speech pathology very non-traditionally in my 30s. And I've done everything under the sun. So I come to the field with a lot of experience in corporate America and management and sales and customer service, retail, you name it, I've probably done it or sold it. I've been an SLPA for 7 years here in Arizona, and I started my own business in 2022. And so I'm one of the few SLPA entrepreneurs, and that also led me to see that there was so much more to give outside of simply being a clinician. So I started a community. In December of 2024, I started the SLPA Network, which is the first and only interdisciplinary online community for all support personnel to learn, grow, and thrive. So that's what I've been up to in a nutshell.
That's amazing. And like, what brought you to the field of SLP?
Well, I was working in retail sales and working in hospitals. I've been in the medical field for over 20 years, doing everything from customer service to reception, client intake. I worked in an emergency room before. So I've been in healthcare for a while and I knew I wanted to help people. So that was the easy part. But what did that look like? And so I knew I didn't want to be a nurse. I didn't want to do blood. Thought about PT. I don't really like touching people, so that was not going to work for me. I didn't really know anything about OT, but I met a woman working in a boutique. I love clothes. I'm very stylish. And so I feel like to feed my habit, I work in those places that I want to purchase things at. So I'm working in a boutique and she comes in. She's a Baylor graduate. She's going to be a speech pathologist in the schools. And so as we're shopping, we're talking and I'm asking questions and I'm thinking the whole time, I could totally do this. Like I could totally, not the kid part. I didn't want to work with kids initially, but I thought I'm a gifted speaker. I'm a gifted orator. I love helping people. It's the best of both worlds. And so I believe that was 2011 when I met this young lady. I wish I knew her name because she changed the trajectory of my life. And I was living in Waco, Texas at the time. And I decided to come to Arizona to go to ASU because it was one of the few in-person programs. My mom retired here back in 2010, so I had a couch to sleep on. And that's what led me to communication disorders.
That's amazing. What a great story. I know some people don't realize the impact they have on another person's life, right? I have countless stories like that where someone's just mentioned something and it sticks with you and then you
Yep.
making a change sometimes.
Yeah, she definitely inspired me. I mean, because I had never heard of a speech pathologist before.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I feel like that it was similar in my case because my undergrad was in psychology, and then my sister-in-law is a physical therapist, and she mentioned speech language pathology. We didn't even have an undergraduate program for that at my university, so yeah,
Yes,
I
yes,
feel like that happens often.
yes. I went to school in Michigan. I have a bachelor's in communication. So again, I've always known I had this gift, this talent. I initially wanted to be a news broadcaster. And so I've been an intern at a news channel, and it was very competitive and very mean and very nasty and very cutthroat. And I'm like, this is not my speed. No, this is not me. So what do I do now? And so I just kind of flopped around for 25 years, doing
Mhm.
anything and everything to support me and my family. I'm a mom. I have two amazing boys. And so yeah, I've been around, y'all.
Well, that's amazing. I can't wait to hear more and learn more about you. If anybody is just tuning in for the first time on YouTube or podcast, my name is Vanita Litvack. I go by she, her, hers. And Alice, I did put your pronouns on the next page. I forgot to put them here, so I apologize.
Okay,
But they're
no
on.
worries.
I've been an SLP for since 2014. I
Mhm.
host a Speechy Side Up podcast, and I am also the CE content consultant for Tassel Learning. I have a small private practice focusing on early intervention and AAC, and recently started teaching a graduate level AAC course and went back to school and I'm going to become an SLPD through Northwestern University.
Awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
Exciting.
So yes, I did put your pronouns here, and if you don't mind sharing your financial disclosures too.
Yes, yes, yes. I am going to be an affiliate with Tassel. Super excited. And I am the owner of Speech with Miss Alice LLC and the creator of the SLPA Network, which we will lovingly call TSN.
Perfect. And I am an affiliate for Meaningful Speech and Simple Practice, and I am the owner of Speechy Side Up LLC and Tassel Learning LLC. Alrighty, so let's talk about some of the ethical challenges that SLPAs face.
I believe it's twofold. I believe some of the ethical challenges that we face, one, internally, we do not see ourselves as qualified. We do not see ourselves as equal. We do not see ourselves as peers as it relates to our SLP counterparts. And that hinders us because we allow ourselves to work beneath our certifications, to do some tasks and to do some projects that have nothing to do with our scope of practice. We don't create those boundaries. We don't stand up for ourselves. We just want to belong. We just want to fit in. And sometimes we allow ourselves to get caught up in situations that are unethical. We don't stand up for supervision that we are required to have. We don't stand up for the respect that we should get in some of our well, in all of our environments, but mostly from what I've experienced is in home. When we're in home, we're kind of islands unto ourselves and we're not getting the supervision that we need. That's unethical. We're not getting what we need so that we can do our jobs, and we're then putting our SLP counterparts licenses in jeopardy because you guys don't know what we're out here doing. So we've got to be better with that. We've got to stand up for ourselves, and we've got to teach sometimes our counterparts when we're in schools, those principals, those teachers, those paraprofessionals, they don't necessarily know, right? Maybe their first time working with us. So we've got to know our scope and we've got to share. We've got to be proactive and we've got to be more confident. And that is something that I am trying very hard to not only be an example to, but give those skills and those trainings and those strategies where I can say, hey, it's time out for that, y'all. If we're going to be the certified professionals that we are, then we've got to speak up for ourselves and we can't just let whatever goes on, go on. The other side of that ethical challenge is there is a hierarchical nature to our supervisor supervisee relationships, specifically within the speech pathology field, that I'm not seeing with our PTA counterparts, our CODA counterparts. It's very, we're here and SLPAs are here. A part of that is because we're so disjointed. Some of us don't need bachelor's degrees, some of us do. Some of us don't have to take a test, some of us do. 30 states recognize SLPAs. And I feel like in 90% of them, we do different things. Scope of practice are disjointed. So because of all of that, all those differences, it can get a little messy. It can get a little messy. And so what ASHA is trying to do with the SLPAs can now become certified. What they're trying to do is give us a unified level of competency, a unified level of understanding, scope of practice, of code of ethics, so that we can rise up and be more like CODAs, PTAs, where we're recognized nationally. But that's going to take time, and it's going to take both sides. It's going to take the SLPA stepping up and recognizing who they are, and it's going to take SLPs to also recognize us as the professionals that we are as we grow, as we level up. So it's going to take both sides kind of doing this.
Those are some really good points I wasn't fully aware of. I feel like I knew it, but it wasn't something that was like on the forefront of my mind as
Mm-hmm.
contributing factors to why there's a hierarchical nature between SLPs and SLPAs. So in these other fields like PT and OT, there is a unified certification for those professionals.
Yes, there's tradition, not traditionally, academically, they have to take all the same courses. Like, for example, there's not even enough certification programs to become an SLPA. Like, there's happened to be one here in Arizona, but I didn't even know that. I was coming to be an SLP, didn't know anything about this opportunity. It was my academic advisor that said, hey, you know, you have enough credits to be an SLPA, right? I said, what's that? So it's like this hidden gem because it's just not as prevalent as our industry counterparts. So having that national certification means schools will be interested in having that program now because everyone's doing the same thing. Okay, well, let's go ahead and start that program at an ASU, at a Northwestern, at a Midwestern. So it becomes more accessible. And then we can all travel to any state in the union and we can be recognized. We won't have to start all over. Like right now, if I wanted to go to Georgia, I'd have to do whatever Georgia said to become an SLPA. My certification doesn't mean anything outside of Arizona currently. So we've got a long way to go, but we're on the way. We're making strides. So that's exciting.
Wow, that's so interesting. And you're right. It is like this like hidden gem. I had no idea that you could be an SLPA either. And I was an SLPA for like a hot minute when I graduated because I already had a job lined up, but I didn't have my C's yet. And they had the school
Hmm.
position. So they're like, well, apply to become an SLPA. That's faster. And then I
Yes,
think maybe for a month I was an SLPA.
yes. It is definitely a hidden gem. It
Yeah.
is definitely a full-fledged career move. This is a flex, okay? It is a full-on flex. And I'm super excited to be a representative. Like I said, I've done it for 7 years. It was initially a stepping stone. I'm not going to sit here in front because I saw business, I saw entrepreneurship, and I only saw it as an SLP. So in my mind, it was the only way to go. So as I began to learn and grow and evolve, I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Maybe I can flip this thing. And I did reach out to a mentor who happens to be an SLPA. She said, yeah, I mean SLP. She said, yeah, you can get your LLC now. And if you decide to get a brick and mortar or whatever you want to do later, sure. But you don't have to wait. You're skilled, you're talented, your gifts lend to entrepreneurship. And here I am 3 years later.
That's amazing. So do all SLPs require supervision, and who is the supervision done by? Like, what does that look like?
Yes, yes. To my knowledge, all SLPAs, some states are called speech teachers, speech language teachers, SLTs, paraprofessionals that work in schools. I want to say maybe it's Florida. There's a state where they're only allowed to work in schools where they're under the direct supervision of the SLP in that classroom. So, I mean, no brainer there, right? But for, let's say, places like Arizona, where I work in school, I mean, not in schools, in clinic, in home, and online, I'm in 3 different areas. So I need that SLP to be virtual or come with me in the home or meet me at the clinic, right? So you gotta kind of step outside of that classroom with me and know that caseload. Yes, so we all need that because we're not billing directly. We're billing under your license number,
Mhm.
right? So as even though I own my own business, I'm an independent contractor, I have to be supervised. I cannot bill that insurance on my own. So I work through agencies who do my billing for me. I'm not in a position where I'm ready to partner with an SLP and say, hey, let's start a business together and I work under you that way. I could do that, but that's not the route that I want to go right now. So I work through agencies who just hire me as a contractor and they either A, provide that supervision, or I did have a contract say, do you know anyone that you would like to supervise you? And we'll just offer them their own contract. So they're only specifically going to work with you and that's it. And I thought, that's a pretty sweet contract. And I did. I had someone that I had a fantastic relationship with. And so we did that. I brought her on and all she had to do was supervise me and she got a check.
That's awesome. That
Pretty
works out
good.
for both of you. Good.
Yeah, yeah.
How much supervision? I'm guessing it varies by state too. So how much supervision is required in your state?
It varies by state and it changes as you grow. So that first 90 days, it's more consistent. It has to be, I believe, 20 hours a month. So they need to be really helping you get acclimated. And it needs to be more than a box you check off, guys. That's it needs to be more, it needs to be a lot like y'all's CF year. And I'm calling it the certification foundation year. We need that time to figure out what the heck is going on? Just like we did those, well, here in Arizona, it's 100 observation hours before we can apply with the state of Arizona. Let's keep that going. Let's keep that going. Let's keep that allyship, partnership, peer relationship going because now I'm working under your license. You should want to know and give me some feedback as to how to interact with these clients because I'm representing you. I think we forget that. I think we
Mhm.
forget that. We forget that we're representing each other. And something I learned just recently, it is unethical for me to go into a home and that family not know that I have a supervisor. I'm supposed to tell them I am an SLPA and I'm working under the direct supervision of a supervisor. Let me introduce you to them. They're supposed to know that there is a relationship between us. But if we don't have a relationship, how how comfortable am I going to feel about sharing that information with them when I haven't seen you in a month or I haven't seen you in 2 months? I've been doing this for 7 years, so I don't require the same amount. It becomes the supervisor's discretion. They supervise me at their discretion based upon my level of expertise and my level of competency. So it's up to me and my supervisor to work out a relationship. So he just flat out asked me, what do you need this month? How's it going this month? And I'm like, I'm struggling over here with this AAC client. Cool, let's book something, right? So we have to have that open line of communication. Some months I'm good. I just need you to observe. I don't have any questions. Things are running smoothly. Pop in, observe, and I ask the parents if you have any feedback, if you have any questions, my supervisor's here. This is a great time to take advantage of them. So you really have to advocate for yourself, guys, because I've heard stories where I haven't seen my supervisor in 6 months. I haven't seen them. We might text, we might email, but I'm just out here. And that's not okay, guys. That's not okay.
Yeah, no. I imagine what you're creating through the SLPA network is so helpful for other SLPAs, especially since ASHA like hasn't created this unified body yet for SLPAs. I'm sure like a lot of SLPAs, like SLPs too, feel like they're kind of isolated on their own island. So I really admire what you're creating for that community.
Very much so. I get so many DMs, I get so many messages, and it's saddening, but it's enlightening because I know I'm on the right track. It's like I don't feel like I belong. I'm just out here. I don't have a community. I've been wanting community, didn't know how to facilitate it. A lot of people use Facebook. No hate on Facebook, but there's no resources. I do workshops. I do webinars. I have PDFs. I'm also hosting the very first SLPA Summit, which is a conference for us, by us, asking questions and getting feedback as it relates to us. It's exciting. It's exciting.
What type of like continuing education do SLPAs need?
So again, some states don't require any. Once you get your piece of paper, you're good to go. Here in Arizona, it's 20 hours every 2 years. We have to recertify every 2 years, and they want a transcript of at least 20 hours. Some places it's 10. You really got to know what is required of you. And let's say you get an SLP who's new to Arizona, and they're supervising you, but they're familiar with the scope of practice from wherever they're from, or they've never worked with an SLPA before. I get that too. So it's our responsibility to bring them up to speed, because I don't know if their employer teaches them. I feel like they only teach them what they're required to do. As an SLP, I believe they're required to have 2 years of experience here in Arizona, and there's a couple other things. I'm not 100% versed in the requirements, but there are some requirements. But I don't think they're required to know what we're required to have.
Yeah, no,
Just required to, you know what I mean? Just required to know what to do in that role.
yeah, that makes sense. ASHA
So,
now requires SLPs to like take a supervision course if they're doing anything in terms of supervision. Do you feel like that's
mhm.
helped at all?
It depends on when they took it. If you've been an SLP for 15 years, you took it 10 years ago. I
I think
mean,
it's
you know
required
what I
like
mean?
2 or 3 years now. No, I don't know. I haven't taken it yet because I don't supervise anybody, but I've seen that recently because I had a CF approach me and I was like, oh, well, if I'm going to be supervising her, then I need to take the supervision course. But I think it's only required if you're doing anything in
Yeah,
supervision. But I guess like to that point, who's monitoring that you took it? I guess if you're signing off on a CF, then you have to have taken that course. And that's the CF's
yeah.
job to make sure you've taken it. So then would it be the SLPA's job to make sure that SLP supervisor has taken it,
We have no idea.
right?
We have no way of knowing that. It's like, for example, I work for a company called Arizona Autism currently. So I would have to be proactive and ask Arizona Autism to provide me with proof that my current supervisor has taken this course.
Yeah. Or
That's the only way I would know.
maintain or some and maintain their Cs or their license too, right?
They don't have to have C's in the
Okay,
state
but
of
they're
Arizona. Yeah, they don't have to have the C's from ASHA. Just just the course. So yeah, there's some fortitude, there's some confidence, there's some boundaries, there's some just some internal things that I'm trying to show SLPAs. We've got to step up to the plate and recognize that we're not sidekicks
Mhm.
to them, you know, and it's not a us them. We really are partners.
Mhm.
And we've kind of got to be the instigators. Don't wait. Don't sit back and wait for that SLP to recognize who you are and what you bring to the table. You walk in that room like you belong there because you do, regardless if you have a BA, a high school diploma, a GED, whatever it was required for you to get there, you're there now. Own it. Own it. And don't be afraid to continue to grow. That's why I am working hard so that I can offer CEUs on TSN. Currently, I have to have a reviewer.
Mhm.
Asha says I have to have an SLP that reviews my content to make sure it is applicable. And then when they sign off on it, then and only then would I be able to offer CEUs. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, right? I'm gonna make it happen for myself. So am I gonna cower and be like, this is unfair, I shouldn't have to? I gotta play by the rules. And I know I'm called to do it. And I know I'm building relationships and I'm building alliances. And I believe one day within the year, I'm going to be offering CEU so that we can grow and learn and evolve as SLPAs. Even if we don't desire to get our Cs, if we don't desire to be SLPs, we still should be working at the top of our certification.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love like the vision that you have for this. And it seems like you have a very clear picture of where this is going. And I just think it's going to help a lot of SLPs. Do you know how many SLPAs there are in the US? Any clue about the numbers? I wonder how many there are.
I just went to a conference. The Arizona Speech and Hearing Association had a conference this weekend. We had an SLPA track. She, the presenter, gave us some numbers from a study that was done 2 years ago, and I want to say the number 30% is sticking out in my mind. So out
Okay.
of all of the clinicians, 30% of us are SLPAs.
Okay. Yeah, we'll take a look
Yeah,
at check on that and see. Maybe we could in the Q&A of this, we could like clarify that.
yeah. I wish I had printed out those PDFs. She has some
I
really good
imagine
stuff.
it's going to grow too, with like the cost of everything nowadays, the cost of education, and then just like the sheer need for SLPAs. And I
Yes.
think like the how difficult it is to get into graduate programs as well.
Hmm.
I know many SLPAs who start
Hmm.
working and then they find, okay, this is exactly what I wanted to do. I don't need to go into grad school now and keep applying. Like I'm very happy where I'm at and I make good money.
Yes, yes. The need is going to grow. And I believe this is what I would like to see. I like to see as ASHA continues to unify us, they also push for education to continue to grow programs. So it's kind of, it's doing this so that as we become unified, we now have more access and folks can really see it as an opportunity to grow and not as simply a stepping stone to becoming an SLP. So getting all of us on the same page and getting that advocacy, we talked about how much time it takes to change the laws. We have to go to Capitol Hill and get someone to sponsor the bill, and then it has to go to the House. The House of Representatives. There's a process, and it just takes time. But we have to speak up and tell our states we want SLPs and SLPAs in our states, and it's going to take both of us working together. Unfortunately, I think there's some fear. Some SLPs have fear that we're gonna take their jobs or something. We can't. We have two different scopes of practice. We have to see each other as allies, not competition. I don't think PTs and PTAs do that.
Yeah,
I
or
you know what I mean?
RBTs. Yeah, there's a hierarchy there, but there's not like this misunderstanding of the roles in those other fields because it's
Correct.
very clear like who is supposed to be doing what. Whereas like
Yes.
seems like with SLPs and SLPs, there's not this clear definition of who does what depending on the state, and that's where it's problematic.
Yep, exactly. I did take some notes. PTAs are licensed in all 50 states. They have PT boards. They must graduate from a CAPTE accredited associate program. The scope is uniform. They can work in hospitals, outpatient, schools, health, etc. Always supervised by a PT, but clear national identity. CODAs, licensed in all 50 states, must complete an ACOTE accredited associate program. They have to take an exam. So there's there's uniformity, and with
Mhm.
us, there isn't yet. I'm hopeful.
Well, it
It's
doesn't
coming.
surprise me that like it's behind that our field is behind because I feel like we're always behind with everything. So,
Hmm.
wow,
Yeah,
so many like ethical challenges I wasn't even aware of. So thank you for bringing those up. I feel like
of
those
course.
apply to SLPAs, but also it's really good for SLPs to be aware of as well. So how can
Yes.
we better support the SLPA community?
Be we, being aware, like you said, you guys don't know.
Yeah,
So being aware, having opportunities like this for us to talk to a larger audience and share our goals with you guys. This is where it starts. It starts with us as SLPAs speaking up and advocating and desiring that allyship, right? So let's change the A to ally.
I like
Right?
that.
Let's just change how we view each other, because that's where the understanding and the support, that's where it comes from. I wouldn't even mind speech language support ally. Okay, look, I'm a visionary. I'm a dreamer.
I
It
love
can
it.
be whatever we want it to be. And so let's make it that. A lot of SLPs were SLPAs. What did you love about it? Or what did you not really understand about it? Bring that transparency to your supervision if you decide to step into that role, right? When I became a mom, I thought about, I'm gonna be the kind of mother I always wanted to be. Because I didn't like when my mom did this, but I did like when my mom did that. So if you have that experience, bring those experiences into your supervision and help that SLPA grow, whether they want to go further or not. There should always be growth. So many of us feel stagnant, we feel stuck, we feel unappreciated, we feel underutilized even, right? Maybe we can't do that evaluation, but teach us what it looks like to give an evaluation, how to read those documents. They look crazy, right? What's happening? Show us, guide us, support us so that we can better guide and support our families. That's my kumbaya, right? Like let's think about our families, think about why we started doing this in the first place. And we
Mhm.
can only support them and help them when we are supporting and helping each other. When I have supervision, we are having fun. We are having a good time. My supervisors are like, man, your sessions are lit. I'm like, it's lit because I'm vibing because we are a team and we get to work together. And I want my families to see that. That's why it's a vibe, right? I'm happy that you're actually here and that you're actually supporting me and therefore supporting this family and giving them what they need to grow. And I think that's why I have over 95% retention with my families. I've been with most of my families for 5, 6 years because of that, because I'm totally sold on this team thing.
I
So,
love. Yeah, I mean, I'll say when I was working in a clinic that had a few SLPAs, I hope none of my other SLP colleagues like hate me for this, but one of the SLPAs was the best clinician I've ever encountered, like still to this day. I mean, every single session was a vibe. And she really like was very child-led and just very in tune with her clients. And she would work with some really like challenging behaviors, and the kids just loved her. And I learned a lot from her personally. So
mhm,
I think there's absolutely a place where SLPs and SLPAs can work harmoniously because we did it in our clinic.
mhm,
And
mhm,
then also like support one another. And there's a article we're going to be sharing at the end that talks about what that could look like. It is based out of Australia, similar premises. We've got the speech language pathologists, and I think they call them a speech health assistants or something, but they talk about the value that basically an SLPA can bring to speech language pathologists. And like what blows my mind is that we don't let a lot of SLPs touch certain things, but now that technology is evolving so quickly and with AI, we're like more willing to
Hmm.
like allow that to do our reports and like the
Hmm.
evaluating,
Hmm.
the screening. And it's like, why would we like just skip over like a population that's certified in this area? I'm not, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, SLPAs can really help out with efficiency, getting clients access to services quicker, long
Hmm.
wait
Hmm.
lists, right? I mean,
Hmm.
this goes
Most
on.
definitely. Yeah.
Um,
I think did I touch on that at all? I feel like I did.
maybe we are going to touch on that. I think like, let me see the next one, benefits of SLPAs. So I
Yep.
think
Yep. For sure.
we can start
So
if we're
I noted that provide equitable supervision. That's next one. Increase access to care. You just said that. Reduce wait lists, expand service delivery, bring cultural and linguistic diversity. We often reflect the client base more closely. I think that just depends. I think both can be. But if we're the ones providing the services, then yeah, of course. Enhance collaboration, support workload management, freeing SLPs for higher level tasks. Provides education and resources on advocacy and ethics, builds mentorship. I think that's actually PSN. Creates platform for visibility. Yeah, that's tapping into TSN. But yeah, it's the access to care. There's more, the demand is higher than what SLPs can handle. And with all of the additional tasks that you guys have to do, you're torn. You're torn, you know. How can we treat these hundreds of kids and we only have two or three SLPs, depending on the environment. I work in a I work in a behavior health clinic as an independent contractor. I come in to provide the speech for the kiddos, and there might be 4 to 5 BCBAs, which is the SLP, but there's 25 registered behavior technicians, right? So I mean, there's a lot. And that's the need. The BCBA simply can't create the treatment plan, do the eval, and treat all these kids at the same time. So we've got to be like that tree. You got to be like that tree, and we're the branches, and the kids are the leaves. But you guys are the trunk, right? You're there to keep us strong so that we can take care of the kiddos. And so that's how we got to think about it. We got to think about it like a tree. The trunk doesn't compete with the branches. The branches don't
yeah,
compete with the trunk.
support each other.
Yeah, we need each other.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more about this too, about how
Yeah.
SLPs better support SLPAs. The supervision piece, like what would be your ideal supervision scenario? And I know it's probably changed since you've been an SLPA from the beginning.
Ideally, it's it's nothing wrong with the system per se. It's how it's applied. Like, yes, a new SLPA needs to have more hours, needs to have more support. But the 90-day thing, that should be discretionary. Because is that SLPA working full time? Does she have 30 kiddos? Does she have 15? So that I think maybe after the 90 days is fine, but it needs to be more discretionary based upon what's going on, maybe even based upon the environment, because in-home SLPAs need more than school,
Mm.
especially if that SLP is right there. But I've also heard horror stories where the SLP keeps calling out and leaving the SLPA high and dry to run all the sessions by themselves. How that works, I don't know. What do you mean she keeps calling out? Does she have a job? But anyway, so there's good and bad on both sides, but it needs to be more a relationship and mentorship than supervision. I wish it was just called something else because it's like a burden. It's like a burden on the burden. The SLPA feels like they're a burden. Like they gotta babysit me, they gotta watch me. No, they gotta
Good.
help you grow. They gotta
Yeah.
they gotta support you because you're supporting them,
Mhm.
right? That dichotomy. So I actually did create a course on TSN for SLPs who want to go beyond that one course y'all got to take for ASHA. We want to really know from an SLPA's perspective, what do we need? What would we like to see? How can you truly support us? Right? And I give you narratives. We need you to help us grow as clinicians, as people, as individuals. Ask us, where do you see yourself in 2 years? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How can I lend my strengths to you and help you grow as a person? That they're going to be like, whoa, this person actually cares about me. Like they want to see me thrive, right? And if you can't, then let's find some resources for you. Maybe I'm not the best person when it comes to AAC or Gestalt or whatever it is, but maybe look and see if I can find some resources for you and get back with you next week. Yes, that's it. Now they feel valued, heard, seen, supported. Supervision has now turned into mentorship. So in a kumbaya world, it would be mentorship, allyship, partnership,
Mhm.
regularly, as regular as that person needs. When my SLP reaches out to me, sometimes I don't need anything. Sometimes I'm having a month where I'm just coasting. But QPRs are coming up, quarterly reports are coming up next month, right? And I'm like, do we discharge this person? Do we revise these goals? So I'm going to need a little bit more help come October 1 because I'm going to want to get some feedback on what I've been seeing and what does that look like for that SLP, right? So it's an ebb and a flow. But check those check-ins. Don't call it supervision, call it a check-in. Checking in with you. How's it going? Let's schedule those. So I have tons of tools in this class, y'all, that can help you better understand how you can help us, how you can support us. So it's called, oh Jesus, I'm blanking out, empowered supervision. It's called
That's great.
empowered supervision on the SLPA network. So yeah.
Those are some really, really great tips. Have you ever thought about submitting to the ASHA leader where like you're meeting SLPs where they're at and what they're reading? I feel like that would be so helpful. I think sometimes I was actually talking to Amy Graham about this yesterday. Like sometimes people don't know what they need. Like they're not actively looking for something, but it sometimes it just falls in your lap and you're like, "Oh, wow, I actually like am really interested in this or I really needed this information. I had no idea like how to even look for it." So, I would highly suggest doing that if you're open to writing because you're a really great speaker and I think that would be a great place to kind of meet SLPs where they're at too. And then obviously
I never thought about that, but that is good. Thank you.
especially given that like ASHA does have such little information about the role of SLPAs. We do have like ASHA's scope of practice, the practice portal information, the 3 or 4 articles that are on the website about SLPAs and the relationship with SLPs. We've included in the resources section, but there needs to be a lot more. And, Alice and I did a little search on Google Scholar and the articles were extremely limited as well, but it's a shame. Like thinking about other fields, as you've mentioned, like OT and PT and BCBA, and just how integral the assistants are to
Hmm.
those professions
Hmm.
as like
Hmm.
non-existent in some states
Yeah.
for LPs.
Yeah. 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 You're right. And when I think of Asha Leader, I think of, I don't know, I guess not lateral. Like that's y'all's little spot where y'all kumbaya together and talk about, SLP stuff. And I'm so focused on giving SLPAs what they need that I had to think about what can I do to bridge that gap, right? Like maybe I can step into the sphere and say, hey, would you guys be interested in hearing what I have to say? Never
Yeah.
thought about it. I just felt like that's where y'all go and y'all have y'all discussions about whatever's pertain directly to y'all. But I think that's fantastic. Thank you for planting that seed. I'm going to do some research and find out how to make it happen for myself.
Alice, you're going to be the bridge for SLPs and SLPAs.
I'm here for it. I really and truly am. I feel like my gifts and talents lend to this. It doesn't feel like a stretch. It doesn't feel like a hardship. It doesn't feel like a burden. I am invigorated. I'm emboldened, and it's been 7 years, and I don't see it. I don't see it going away. It's like,
SLP liaison at ASHA
come
coming.
on,
I don't know, maybe there's already somebody, but I don't know if they're doing their job. Sorry.
okay. Listen, I'm gonna find out.
If there's not, that needs to be your role. So let's talk about the SLPA network and what you aim to do. You've already talked about a little bit, but let's talk about the big goal.
Yeah. So if you guys are looking at my background, this month we're celebrating 9 months. I started this December of 2024. And so it's 9 months of growth and support and community. And I love celebrating. Give me a reason to throw a party, honey. So I'm like, ooh, 9 months. I like that number. I think about birth, right? It takes us 9 months to create a human being. There's significance in that nine. So I wanted to celebrate it. So the SLPA Network is an online community for all support personnel. I am an SLPA, so that's where that acronym comes from. But I had an epiphany. When am I at my best? When am I the most joyful? When I'm working with my other industry professionals. When I go into a home and that PTA session is ending, I'm like, wait, give me 5 minutes. Tell me what you did. Tell me how you did it, right? How can I take some of what you're doing and have it bleed into my session? Can I come early next week? Because I want to actually observe. I'm like, they're looking at me like this chick is on something. And I don't drink coffee. Okay. I'm like this 24/7. So I thought, what if I let all support personnel join and we can kumbaya together? Oh, so yes, PTAs are welcome, coders are welcome, audiology assistants are welcome at the SLPA network. So, so it's a community. We have chats, we have forums, we have discussion boards. I even have a job board, honey. I'm gonna help you get some cash. Okay. Outside of the community, I'm gonna help you grow. I have a mentorship program because I recognize that I have gifts and I have talents and I have skills and I have boldness. And I want to help you cultivate that. I happen to be born with it, but it can be taught. Okay. You can flex that confidence muscle, right? And I'm going to help you do that through my confidence mentorship program. I have free webinars, and I said free, you just log in. Collaboration, advocacy, goal setting. What do you want to do with this thing? Like, are you a lifer or are you thinking, nah, I'm out in 6 months. I want to go to grad school. What's that look like for you? So free webinars. Every quarter I do a workshop. The workshops are paid because I bring professionals in. I had Melanie Evans on TSN talking about mentorship, talking about legacy, right? What does that mean as it relates to us? It's stuff that relates to us, y'all. I feel like our master's level counterparts have their spaces. Where's ours? Where's our space? I looked around and I kept asking, I kept waiting, and I said, nah, it's all on me. It's all on me. I'm built for this. And now we have it. Now we have it. And it's so exciting. So webinars, workshops, courses, okay. Where can we go and get courses that speak to our scope of practice?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
wait.
wondering, where do you go?
We don't. There are none. There were none until now, right? And so I'm developing courses that can help us to grow. And it's all on TSN.
That's
It's a
all.
free, it's a free platform, but a lot of the things are paid. When you come on as a subscriber, monthly, quarterly, or annually, you get free courses, you get free workshops. So I'm making membership worth it for you because you're investing in yourself. I'm going to invest right back into you. Let's go.
I love it. I'm writing. That's so awesome and so needed, it seems like. I mean, I definitely don't know about anything else in the space that's like this. So that is so cool.
Thank you.
So you started it 9 months ago,
Yeah.
and like, what's your current way that you're marketing it? Is it through just like social media? How else are you marketing it?
So it started in December and we had already missed conference season. So everything was just getting it out there, social media. Conference season's back, baby. I've been to my state conference and so been talking about it, bringing it to people. And crazy part about it, a lot of people have heard of it already.
Oh,
A lot
great.
of people are like, oh yeah, I saw something about that. Or so it's simply just been word of mouth. Last fall was in Basla, National Black Association for Speech, Language, and Hearing. I am a part of that. I am the awards and scholarship chair. So I'm using my gifts and talents and my ability to speak and lead in all different areas within communication disorders. And when I'm there talking about TSM, dropping little, little things, And so I am being my own spokesperson, my own marketing. And so yeah, it just takes time to build that awareness, but we are over 1,300 followers on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. Yeah,
That's
I'm out
awesome.
here.
Now, do you find that the SLPA population, you said that a lot of SLPAs can relate more to the type of clients that we're serving, maybe BIPOC communities. Do you find that more SLPAs are? And like, do you feel like that also creates the disparity between SLPs and SLPAs?
No,
Okay.
no, I think there's still lack of diversity. It's getting better though. It's getting better, but it's still just because there's not a lot of programs. So of
Mhm.
course, if there's a program here in Arizona where we have a high Latina population, there's going to be more Latinas in our class than, African Americans or Caucasian. Versus, if you're in Georgia, where there's just more, Black and brown people. So it just depends. Once the playing field is equal and there's more certification programs, then we're going to see a burst of diversity. Then and only then. Like I don't even think there's any online programs. We could definitely have an online certification. It's I have taken more classes simply because I've taken all my leveling courses. I was going to ASU to be an SLP, okay? So I was in the trenches. And it wasn't until like my last semester when I was dying in anatomy and physiology that my advisor was like, you have more than enough credits to be an SLPA. You can make some money. And I'm like, yes, I'm tired of being broke.
I wonder if
So
Northwestern would be open to creating an SLPA program
that would be amazing.
because they have their online SLPD program. It's hybrid, like we do have to go to the campus, but still, I wonder like if that's something you're
Yeah,
interested in.
we need to start talking about it. And I don't even know what that looks like, but I do still know the program director at the community college I graduated from. Maybe I could set up something with her and figure out how do we start having the conversation about spreading these programs around.
Mhm. Yeah.
Probably the lack of program directors. Who would lead the program? What
Yeah.
what are the qualifications for that person? She's an SLP, so you're about to be an SLPD. Maybe you could be a director. Hey, listen.
I do think that like as soon as ASHA does the unification, that need is going to be like almost immediate from the education level to provide more training to SLPAs. And like you said, through online avenues so they can reach more people. I
Yes,
love
yes,
the sky's the
yes,
limit, it seems like in this area.
yes. The ceiling is ready to be cracked open, and I'm very, very excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's
I've
such
just
a
joined, yeah, I
conversation.
joined my state organization. I'm on the SLPA committee, and that's exactly what I want to do. I want to advocate here on my state level so that I know I'm doing everything to push the initiative forward.
I love that. Yeah, this is such a different conversation than the one I've had with the other SLPA, but I think that SLPA always saw it as a stepping stone, whereas I like your thought process on the field because there's a need for SLPAs. Like it's okay if SLPAs want to go and then become like certified SLPs, but I do
Yes,
still think there is a need for SLPAs too. Like you were saying, not just seeing it as a stepping stone. So I
yes,
love this conversation because it opened my eyes to the issues that are out there and like what's still needed.
Hmm.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So if anybody wants to learn more, you can look at ASHA's frequently asked questions regarding SLPAs, the ASHA practice portal, and then the SLPA scope of practice through ASHA. And then here is the SLPA Network website. And I think this is where your resources are located, correct?
Correct. Correct.
And this is the article that I mentioned. Like I said, there was very, very limited research. I did try to look for more recent articles from like 2020 and up. So this one was from 2020, which is still like 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
And it's not even a high quality article. It's more of just like a position statement on how SLPAs can bring value to speech language pathologists. So there's clearly a need for more research in this area as well. So TBD, hopefully when we have Alice back on again, we'll be able to share some more high quality research articles at that point. Alice, thank you so much. This was such an amazing interview.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your website and where everybody can find and connect with you?
Most definitely. So it's going to be the SLPA network.net. And we also are on Instagram. You're going to use periods though. It's at the period SLPA period network because I felt like slapping it all together just looked silly. So I put periods in there. But on Facebook, it is the SLPA network because it just made sense there. TikTok, I do believe it's also the SLPA network. You can follow me at speech with underscore Miss Alice on Instagram. I have a newsletter for my business where I often talk about what I'm up to in the community. Um, I'm always out doing something to represent us well. So if you go to my business website, it's going to be speechwithmissalice.com. You can figure out what's going on with me, what classes I'm putting up on the network. It's a nice little like montage of everything that's going on with me. And there's also a link to TSN from my network. So
Awesome.
that's where you can find me.
Thank you so much and congratulations on 9 months.
Thank you. Thank you. The power of nine, baby.
Okay, let's go.
Hello, hello, everyone.
Hi, thanks for joining us, Alice.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm in my car. I'm doing home health on tonight. So I just left a client's home and I was gonna see if I could go see one more tonight, but I think I'll just reschedule. It's dinner time.
Well, you're a few hours back, right? Maybe we won't have to take too much of your time. We had 3 questions come in from the newsletter and social media. So let's see if we can get through them.
All right. It's good to see you again.
I know, me too. Such a great conversation. It's like one of those conversations, like I had said earlier, it was something I needed that I didn't know I needed to know more about.
Mhm.
And then tonight I'm like on the side looking up the statistics of PTAs because I couldn't do that during our actual interview. And I was like, blown.
Yeah,
It's the discrepancy between the amount of SLPAs versus the other professions. I don't even look at RBTs, which I'm sure is like in the hundreds of
it's
thousands.
growing.
Yeah.
It's a growing field. I even considered becoming an RBT because I'm just a nerd and I love learning and I love being well rounded. And I was like, man, this is up and coming. I should do this too. But you can't bill for speech and RBT at the same time.
Hmm. Yeah, well, gotta choose one. I'm
You
glad
do.
you're an
You do.
SLPA. I think
Yes.
we I think there's a lot of room for growth in the SLPA field and not even as a stepping stone, but like my goodness, we have so many issues with caseload, workload, burnout. Why can't we recruit more SLPAs to help offset that? I don't understand.
I think it's coming. I think it's definitely coming.
I'm like, who's the gatekeeper here? But anyway.
Mm.
Um, okay, so the one of the first questions we had was, have you ever been in a tricky situation where you had to say that's not my job?
I think fortunately for me, I have not. I've had nothing but amazing relationships with my supervisors, clinical directors, coworkers. I've never felt like I've been in a position to where anything was weird. But I also like um, advocating for more. I remember when I was doing my, I call it clinicals. It's probably not when your hours before you can apply to be an SLP or SLPA. I was working in a school, and the SLP asked me, did I feel comfortable putting in the note, like teaching me how to do the soap note? And I'm like, of course, I'm going to have to do that. Maybe not in a school setting, because I had no desire to work in a school setting, but the fact that she asked me, would I be comfortable learning how she would enter the soap note, I thought that was so cool because I didn't know. I didn't know what I would be expected to do if I worked in a school environment. And she set the precedent for me for collaboration and respect and allyship. She always would ask, "How do you feel? Do you want to know more? Do you want to see what it's like behind the curtain?" I'm like, "Yes," because I had every intention of going back to school. So I was like, "Give me everything you got." So that I can be as prepared as possible. And so I've never had an experience where I felt like someone was asking me to do something outside of my scope. If anything, I wanted to do more. I'm like, is there anything else you can show me? You can show me. I don't have to do it. Another experience at that same school was screenings. She taught me how to do a screening. She did it, but I observed and I took notes. And then afterwards, she goes, "Okay, what questions do you have?" So I've always been in really healthy situations where people saw my curiosity, they saw my passion, and they allowed me to grow, even at my earliest stages. So,
That's awesome. I feel like that leads into the next question that we got was what makes a great SLP supervisor in your opinion? And you could just like top two or three. You kind of shared that a little bit.
I feel trust and respect because that's going to bleed into partnership.
Mhm.
Period. So, um, trusting that I am capable of doing my job and doing it well, and respecting me enough to see me as a person and as a clinician. Um, yeah, that's going to make me want to partner with you and vice versa. I need to be able to trust you that you're going to take care of me and that you're going to respect me. And that's exactly what I've experienced. Some supervisors have been more um, available than others, and I get that. It depends on what they're juggling. Um, in the early years, that was great. It'll be 8 years for me in December, so I don't really need a lot of hand holding. But when I reach out, I would like you to respond in a timely manner. Now, don't leave me on red. So that's where that trust comes in. I know when I need you, you got my back. So that's what I would say.
That's great. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It aligns with it's more like humanity characteristics,
Mhm,
more than like just a style. So it's just like treat you like a human being.
mhm,
And that makes sense. In my education and teaching class and the program I'm in now, those are the top two things that students want to have as well. They want to be respected and they want to be able to like trust the relationship that they have with their teacher. So it makes sense that with a supervisor, you'd feel the same way.
mhm, mhm. And I'm still, for those who are like still in Arizona, I'm still in touch with all my supervisors that I've had over the 8 years, which is super cool. Like I never lose that relationship. And so I love that.
That's great. And the last question was, how do you and the SLP split the work in sessions?
Typically it's all observation, what I've experienced. And what I like to do is I like to invite the family to interact with my supervisors because sometimes, even if it's an adult, they feel like they're being watched. Kids, for sure. Kids feel like they're being watched by this person either in the room or on the computer screen. And so I invite them in. I say, hey, they're here to support me. They're here to make sure that I'm giving you the best possible care. If you have a question, you can ask them. Like, I'm not going to feel like bad. Like, if there's something that you like that I do, you can tell them. If it's something that you don't like that I do, you can tell. So I make them feel a part of that session, and it doesn't feel so much like, who's this stranger? Who's this person? They only pop up once a month, or they only pop up once every couple weeks. I build that rapport, because with me, because I'm an independent contractor, these families are mine. I don't get a caseload from the SLP. So a lot of times they don't know my clients. So when they supervise, I break that wall and say, hey, I trust this person. We're colleagues, we're teammates. You can talk to them. You can ask them questions, or if you want them to turn their camera off, I can ask them to do that. I let them know that whatever they want to do, this is a safe space for them, and they really appreciate that. And so, and if I obviously have a question, I'm like, hey, I've been having a question about goal XYZ. Can you give me some tips and strategies right in front of them so that they can see us collaborate in real time? I think that's also very important. I ask parents, hey, mom, step in for just a second. Dad, step in for just a second. This is my supervisor. Any questions, any concerns, why they're here, right? And so that's been my style. It's worked really, really well for me.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing
You're
your
welcome.
experience. And yeah, I think there's a lot of room for growth in this area. So I'm excited to watch your journey.
Me too. I'm excited to come back maybe in a year or so when I'm offering CEUs.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. And until next time.